Hello everyone, welcome to Wordy Tales. Today we will tell a story about how discovering your strengths and persistent practice lead to success. This story will remind us that each of us has unique talents. With the right mindset, you can achieve success in any endeavor. Throughout the story, we will also learn new words and how to use them in sentences to improve English in a fun and easy way. Stay with us until the end of the story. Once upon a time, there was a family living in a small, quiet town in a peaceful corner of the city. In this family, there was a 12-year-old boy named David, who was in the 6th grade. David was an energetic child who loved playing outside. His favorite pastime was football, and almost every day he went to the nearby field to improve his skills. One day, returning from school, David collapsed onto the couch, deep in thought. He opened his school book, looked at it, and leaned back with a dissatisfied expression. His father, who noticed this, came over to find out what had happened and why he was upset. He had just come out of the backyard and noticed the unusual behavior of the boy sitting next to David. He approached and asked what was bothering him. David explained that he had received a bad grade in math, but that was not the main issue. What troubled him was that his friend Matt always got high scores. Despite all efforts, David could not match Matt in his studies. Upon hearing this, the father went to pour some water to calm his son. After David had calmed down a bit, the father took him to a small garden behind the house, filled with shady trees and a peaceful atmosphere. I want you to understand 3 important lessons from what happened today, the father began. These lessons will help you in life. David, who deeply respected his father, was slightly puzzled but interested. "Can you explain these lessons, Dad?" he asked. "For the first lesson, I want you to—" the father began, preparing to tell something important. David nodded, agreeing to invite Matt to play football tomorrow. He was eager to find out what lesson his father had prepared for him. The next morning, the weather was clear and welcoming. David went to school with his usual enthusiasm and joy, looking forward to the new day. After school, David invited Matt to play football together at the nearby field. As usual, he played almost every day and was confident. David completely dominated the match, scoring 3 goals and leading his team to a big victory. His confidence and skill were noticeable to everyone. Meanwhile, Matt, who had a poor understanding of football, was struggling, often losing the ball and making mistakes. But he continued to play with pleasure. Despite all the difficulties, all the participants in the game had a great time and enjoyed their time together on the field that day. After the game, David quickly tidied up and hurried to meet his father in the yard to share his impressions. "Dad, I played football with Matt today. What is the first lesson you want to teach me?" David asked curiously. The father smiled understandingly and said, "Tell me how the game went." David described in detail his 3 goals and Matt's mistakes. Father nodded and said, "Look, David, Matt may be bad at football, but he is excellent at math. Just as you might struggle with math, but play football very well. All people are different, and that's okay. Everyone has their own strengths and interests." David felt a surge of understanding and realized that not everyone has to be the same. As always curious, David immediately asked about the second lesson. His father said, "Tomorrow at school, watch Matt closely. Count how many times he works with numbers. The next day, David went to school enthusiastically to complete his father's task. All day, he quietly observed Matt, noticing how often he engaged in math. After school, David played football again until his father came home. In the evening, he approached his father and shared his observations. "Dad, Matt did a lot of counting today. He solved problems, solved puzzles, and even counted the petals on a flower during recess," said David. Father smiled and said, "This is the second lesson, David. Matt is good at math because he loves it and practices often. If you want to get better at something, you have to learn, like in football. It doesn't always have to be hard. You can start with something simple, like counting the petals on a flower." David smiled, understanding this. He realized he could get better at anything if he worked as hard as he does playing football. David immediately asked about the third lesson. Father thought for a moment and said the last lesson would be about how much better Matt is than David at math. David hesitated a bit, but answered honestly. "I think Matt is 3 times better at math than I am," David said uncertainly. The father smiled and gave the last assignment. "Tomorrow, you will study math 3 times harder," the father said. David swallowed and nodded, preparing for the challenge. The next day after school, David sat down to study. After an hour of intense work, he decided to continue for another 2 hours, tripling his efforts. But before finishing, he started to have a headache and unexpectedly fell asleep without noticing it. Later, the father gently woke him with a light tap. The father told David to go have dinner and then meet him in the garden. He felt disappointed in himself because of his son. David met his father, lowering his head. "I'm sorry, Dad. I couldn't complete the task," he said sadly. "I studied so much that my head hurt, and I ended up falling asleep," David explained, feeling tired and disappointed. The father gently stroked David's head and said, "That happens when you try to master something you don't like. It's hard to be disciplined and consistent when you don't enjoy what you're doing." He continued, looking into his son's eyes. "But if you learn what you love, discipline and persistence come much easier, like your dedication to football." After a short pause, the father gave one last piece of advice. "If you want to become smart and an expert, study what you love, or learn to love what you study." David, amazed by his father's wisdom, promised to keep these 3 important lessons for life. Today, we learned new words and sentences through this story. Remember, studying English can be fun with regular practice. Keep listening, learning, and growing. Don't forget to like, leave a comment, and share how this story helped you improve your English. Thank you for watching. In the next story, we will continue learning together and developing our communication skills.